Hey guys, welcome back to my channel. In today's video, I'll be showing you guys how to make a delicious dip. So for this, you'll be needing some ground beef, or you can use some ground pork if you wish, or you can mix the two together. But the amount of meat you use is totally up to you. If you like yours meaty, go ahead and add as much meat as you want. If you like yours with less meat, of course you want to use less. And I have one block of Velveeta cheese. This is the original, and I plan on using this whole thing, maybe. And I have 1 can of Rotel. This is the mild. This is diced tomatoes and green chili, and this is 28-ounce can. And I'm using some oregano, and I have some of my Slap Your Mama seasoning. You guys know I love this. I don't know if I love it because of the name or the taste. And I have some garlic powder, and I also have some onion powder, and I plan on using about a teaspoon of each of these to season my meat. And you will need a crock pot to make this. Please check the description box where I will list everything I use in this video for you guys. So let's get cooking, guys. Alright guys, you're going to start by having your stove set on medium high, and you want to go ahead and put in your ground beef. And we are going to brown these until they are no longer pink. So just make sure you keep breaking the meat apart so they are not brown, and so they don't get brown in lumps. You don't want big lumps, big chunks like this. So you want to make sure you are breaking it up as it's cooking. So I'm going to go ahead and do that, and then when I come back we can start seasoning our meats. Okay guys, now that my meat is nice and cooked, I'm going to go ahead and add some of my seasoning in there, and add some of that Slap Your Mama. This is a little spicy, so I won't add as much to this because my kids will be eating this. And just mix it, and just cook this for about a minute. While this is cooking, you want to go ahead and cut your cheese into some cubes, that way it can melt easier. And if you guys haven't, please go like me on Facebook, follow, and please share that Facebook page with everyone. And come follow me on Instagram, come snap with me on Snapchat, and also on Twitter. I will leave the link for those down in the description box for you guys to check out. Okay, now we are ready to cook this in the crock pot. You want to go ahead and take your meat and add it to your crock pot. If you don't have a crock pot, you can definitely do this on a regular pot. I just love doing it in my crock pot, that way I can keep it nice and warm. But if you don't have a crock pot, you don't have to worry about it. You can use a regular pot. And I went ahead and drained some of the water out of my tomatoes and add the whole can to this. And like I said, I cut my cheese into some chunky cubes, and I'm gonna go ahead and put that in there. This is such a nice dip to have over when you are watching football. My family is really big in watching football, so it's Thursday today. We have football going on, so this is why I'm making this. So now I'm gonna go ahead and turn on my crock pot and put it either on high or low heat, and basically cook this until the cheese is nicely melted. You want to go ahead and stir it every now and then, just so you can mix the cheese and the meat and the tomatoes together. So I'm going to put this in my crock pot and cook it until it is nicely melted and the cheese is just smooth. Okay guys, my dip is all done. As you can see, my cheese is melted into that ground meat. This is perfect. I'm going to be eating it with some chips, so I'm gonna go ahead and take a piece of my chip and dip it right in there. It have a little spicy kick to it, but nothing too major, nothing that my kids can't handle. But this is perfect for a football night snack.
Loving you isn't the right thing to do. And how can I ever change things that I feel? If I could, maybe I'd give you my world. How can I, when you won't take it from me? You can go your own way. Go your own way. You can call it another lonely day. You can go your own way. Go your own way. Tell me why everything turned around. Packing up, jacking up, so you wanna do. If I could, baby, I'd give you my world. Open up, everything's waiting for you. You can go your own way. Go your own way. You can call it another lonely day. You can go your own way. Go your own way. You can go your own way. Go your own way. You can call it another lonely day. Another lonely day. You can go your own way. Go your own way. You can call it another lonely day. So I'm back to the velvet underground, back to the floor that I love, to a room with some lace and paper flowers, back to the gypsy that I was, to the gypsy that I was.
classic guacamole. That's right, I'm going to be showing you how to make classic, traditional, totally authentic guacamole. Or at least my version. And I'm not sure exactly when you're going to watch this video, but today is National Guacamole Day. So I figured the timing was right. And I know it's not a real holiday, but neither is Valentine's Day. So we're not going to let that stop us. But anyway, let's go ahead and get started. And when you're making guacamole, there's basically two components. There's the avocados and there's everything else. And we're going to be starting with the everything else. So first up, we're going to slice some serrano peppers, which sort of look like small jalapeno, although they are significantly hotter. And yes, we are going to use the seeds and everything. Don't be scared, it's going to be fine. So we will slice those kind of thin, all the way down to the stem, and I'm going to do 3 of those. And then once that's set, I'm going to take a nice big pinch of cilantro and give that a little bit of a chop. And by the way, please stop shaming your friends that don't like cilantro. It's not their fault, it's genetics. Alright, for 10% of the public, cilantro actually tastes sort of like soap. So don't force them to eat it, don't make fun of them. Just be happy you're not one of them. But anyway, we're going to give that cilantro a little chop, and then pile it up on top of our peppers. And then we're also going to take about 1/3 cup of diced white onions and add those to the pile. And then we'll take our knife and give that a brief chopping. And what we're basically doing here is sort of mimicking if we prep these ingredients in a molcajete, which is sort of a large stone mortar in which guacamole is traditionally made. So to simulate that grinding process, what we're going to do is give this a quick chop, and then we'll sprinkle over some kosher salt, or some other type of coarse salt. And then we're going to proceed with what I call the old smear and chop. So using the flat of our knife, we're going to kind of smear that against the cutting board, which again, we're trying to sort of simulate the grinding action in that molcajete. And it's that coarseness of the salt that kind of helps the grinding process. And by grinding these ingredients, we're releasing much more flavor than if we just chop this stuff up and toss it in with our avocados. So this step takes a couple minutes, but it's totally worth it. So what we'll do is alternate between smearing and chopping until we've reached as fine a texture as we want. So some people are going to leave this fairly coarse, while others will prefer to grind this down to a fine paste. But anyway, that's up to you. You are the Jeff Spicoli of your guacamole. But I don't go that far. I like to go until it's right about here. And then what we'll do once that's done is simply set that aside and move on to prepping the avocados, which you probably know how to do, but I'm going to show you anyway. But before we get to that, make sure you're buying perfect avocados. Alright, we don't want them soft or hard. We want them firm but yielding. And really what it should feel like when you press is sort of like modeling clay. That for me is the best description. And then what we'll do to prep these is go ahead and take off that little stem thing. I'll assume that's not the official name. And we'll take our knife and slice in right there until we feel the knife hit that seed. And then we'll simply continue cutting around. And usually we don't cut towards ourselves. But since that seed is stopping the knife, there's very little danger. And then once that's been cut all the way around, we'll simply twist the halves. And voila, we have separation. But we're not done. We have to remove the seed. And to do that, we will carefully but firmly tap that blade on the seed, embedding it about 1/16 of an inch deep, and then all we have to do is give it a twist, and that seed will come right out. And please do not make the rookie mistake of trying to pull the seed off the knife. That is how you're going to cut yourself. The safe way is put your fingers on the other side and just push it off. See that? So easy, so safe. And sure, if you see any weird brown things, you can go ahead and scrape those out. I think that was a seed sprouting, but I'm not sure. But anyway, once that's halved and pitted, all we have left to do is take a spoon and scoop out that beautiful green flesh into a bowl. And I should mention, unless you're the world's slowest avocado scooper, you don't have to toss this stuff in lime juice. It's not going to turn brown in like 5 or 10 minutes. So some people like to squeeze in lemon or lime as they go. I see no need. So we'll go ahead and halve, pit, and scoop our avocado. And I usually do 4 large Hass avocados, but these were a little small, so I did 6. And once that's set, we can move into final production. So to our avocados, we're going to go ahead and add some more freshly chopped cilantro, as well as our beautifully ground onion and serrano mixture. And then we're definitely going to need to add another generous sprinkling of salt. Avocados are very bland unless you add salt. And then last but not least, we'll squeeze in some fresh lime juice. Or if you're super weird, some lemon juice. And that's it. We'll go ahead and take a potato masher and mash this until it reaches our desired texture. Oh, and I should mention, a lot of people do like to throw in a handful of diced tomato into this, which I like, but my wife Michelle is not a big fan, so I guess I don't like them after all. But anyway, we're going to take our masher and mash this until it's as smooth or as chunky as we want. Personally, I don't like mine too smooth. I definitely want to keep a relatively chunky texture. So I'm going to stop right about here, which for me is perfect. And then once we've determined that's been mashed to perfection, we are pretty much ready to serve, but you have to taste this. It almost always needs another pinch of salt, and quite possibly a little more acidity. Oh, and if you're wondering about cayenne, no. Classic guacamole does not have any cayenne in it. So please do not, when no one's looking, sneak in a couple shakes of cayenne. So anyway, we're going to taste and adjust those seasonings. And once that's mixed up, you can go ahead and chill that in the fridge, or transfer it into a nicer bowl and serve it up. And I guess garnish the top with a little chopped cilantro, which is completely unnecessary, but I saw a little bit on the cutting board, so I tossed it on. And of course, make sure you have some chips around. And check it out, I poured a whole bag of chips into that basket, and not one single visible broken chip. Unbelievable. But anyway, that's it. Our classic, traditional, completely authentic guacamole is ready to enjoy. So let me grab a chip and go in and see how I did. And this stuff really is magnificent, which has very little to do with us. It's really the magic of the avocado. Okay, properly seasoned, there are a few things as uniquely delicious. And not to mention one of the world's healthiest foods. Avocado is one of the original superfoods, and so healthy for you, it will completely counteract the negative effects of the chips and the 6-pack of beer I'm going to drink with this. And while I've never had that theory verified by a medical professional, it sounds right. And apparently in this day and age, that's really all that counts. So anyway, that's it, guacamole. Like I said, we're doing this to honor National Guacamole Day. And what better way to celebrate a fake holiday than with a real great dip? So I really do hope you give this a try soon.